Have you ever felt overwhelmed with all that's going on in the world? Sometimes we don't realize that we can make a difference. My name is Debbie Van Grieken, and it is my hope to inspire you to take small steps towards social impact. Join us each week as we have conversations with those who have taken simple steps towards living a more sustainable and socially conscious lifestyle. If you want to make social impact, let's start small. The Small Steps podcast is proudly sponsored by Moya Shea Products. As a listener, enjoy 15% off your online purchase. Use code SMALLSTEPS15 at checkout. At Moya, we believe in people helping people. Supporting the local and global communities that help our organization succeed is very important to us. We apply a fair trade framework when purchasing raw materials, supporting farmers and families. Thinking global and acting local, Moya works with organizations to better the lives of children through education and fair trade. Are you looking for the best moisturizer for beautiful, healthy, glowing skin? Our Shea products are superb moisturizers and have exceptional healing properties for those suffering from skin issues. Check out these products and our wellness line at moyasheabutter.com. Welcome back to the Start Small podcast. I'm your host, Debbie Van Grieken, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by Terri-Lynn Woodhouse, who is the founder and owner of One Earth. Terri-Lynn grew up in Thorold, Ontario, Canada, so not too far from me. She's an avid traveler, and from the beginning, as a child, she was keenly aware of world issues and really resonated and wanted to make a difference. As she grew up, her education and career took her across Canada and ultimately to the United States, where she traveled extensively and worked for some very recognizable brands. She led teams in operations, training, marketing, and sales. But it was a hike across Spain, the Camino de Santiago, in 2012, and a chance trip to Morocco that changed everything. She knew she had a passion to create a company that allowed for lots of entrepreneurship around the world. She realized that entrepreneurship was a sustainable solution to poverty and a way to create a more flourishing world. If you can help, you should. Terri-Lynn has a bachelor's degree in labor studies and business and a postgraduate certificate in adult education and French. She has been recognized with numerous marketing and operations awards, as well as distinguished alumni awards, and is a guest speaker at events highlighting building businesses across North America. Thanks so much, Terri, for joining us today.
Oh, it's so cool to be here with you, Debbie. Thanks for inviting me.
Great. How are you doing today? It's a bit wet where we are.
Yes, it's rainy and cloudy, but the flowers look beautiful. So we'll go with that.
Well, I am just so excited to talk to you today because we actually met probably, I was trying to think, it's got to be close to 4, maybe even closer to 5 years now. I had pretty much just started Moya Shea Products, and I had met you, and you were doing some wonderful things in the fair trade area as well. And we're in such close proximity. So it was great to be able to connect with you. And I've always appreciated your advice and collaboration, which has been so wonderful. But I really want to just share your journey and your story. You have such an incredible journey of how you even started this. And if I remember correctly, it was pretty much a trip gone wrong. Why don't you share with everyone what kind of happened to you?
I think I'm one of those people that believes when you're pointed in a direction, someone will show you the direction to go in. I was turning 40 and I'd been living in the States for, almost a decade. I'm Canadian, but I'd been living in the States for a while doing the corporate thing. And I really wanted to do this Camino de Santiago de Compostela, which is an 800-kilometer hike across Spain. They've been doing it for thousands of years. So my dad and I decided to go do it. So I came up, I was on a work visa switch, came back up to my hometown in Thorold, and we packed backpacks and went, and our intent was just to walk across Spain. And we started, and it was fantastic. If you don't know what the Camino de Santiago is, check it out. And if you can do it, I totally recommend it.
It's on our list.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I'll go back for sure. But along the way, my dad ended up getting sick, and he's fine now. So it's all good. And he tells a really funny story about getting a needle like 4 inches. Every time he tells the story, it gets a little longer, the needle in his butt. And they were talking in Spanish and he had no idea. So, but he couldn't finish the walk. So I ended up doing about 250 kilometers of the 800, and he did about 100, but we had all this extra time. So we decided to, kind of go where we went, and we just booked flights based on what was available through EasyJet where we were. And one of the places was Marrakesh. So I'd never been to Africa at that point, and I thought, oh, that would be really cool. So we went from Santiago de Compostela in Spain and we went down to Marrakesh. I had Googled a tour because I wanted to go to the Sahara Desert. And our tour guide was a guy named Mohammed, who figures into this largely. And we did a tour, went to the argan oil co-ops, and there it's a wonderful place for women who are marginalized to be able to get back on their feet. I bought a whole bunch of stuff, met Nadia, and carried on with our trip. It was like a 5-day trip in Morocco and the western part of Africa. We carried on, and I was planning on going back to the States, and I was moving from Lexington, Kentucky to Nashville, Tennessee. And it was around Christmas time. And I just thought, hey, if you can do something to help other people, you should. So I said to my dad, you want to do a business together? And he said, yeah. For my 40th birthday, we were back in Morocco speaking with Mohammed, and it started from there. So yeah.
It's so incredible. I mean, you've got a lot of business experience. And so, you maybe it was natural for you to think that way. But I love hearing so many people who just think like, wow, this is this opportunity and I should just do it. Like, what's stopping me? Let's just try something. So somebody had told me that they were an accidental entrepreneur. I have adopted that. And I feel that that's so true for a lot of people who have started these, especially these small fair trade businesses, because of situations that they find themselves in. So it's really cool. But obviously you had an interest in sustainable products and fair trade. So how did that kind of develop as you were building this business? What made you hone in that this had to be this type of business, kind of a social enterprise?
To be honest with you, I was not that sustainable person at all. I was prior to starting One Earth, I was very consumer driven, very, I wasn't into sustainability at all. But on that trip, I was able to see, and through Mohammed's eyes, how other people really lived. Like I had always gone to Mexico and, done the resort or whatever. I'm ashamed now when looking back on it, but how privileged we are in North America and Europe. And, Mohammed brought us to his mother's house when that first trip, and brought us to his brother's place. And I think it just hit me like a ton of bricks that, hey, there's a better way to do things. So you've been lucky enough to be able to have some skills and some education and some money to be able to do it. So if you don't do it, who's going to do it? And everybody should do it. So as we started the journey, we've been doing it for almost 9 years now. At the core of the company, like our tagline is creating a more flourishing world. And in every decision we make, we think about that. I'm glad it happened. I'm very glad it happened. And I'm glad that we've been able to make a difference for sure.
Yeah. And, I've had a similar experience to you in some ways too, traveling, and the way I used to travel when I was younger and to the way I travel now. I mean, I can't remember the last time I went to a resort because, we travel and we stay in go resorts now, stay in like little places that really cater to that type of experience. But I think until you know better, right? Like until you know these things, you can't do better. So I think that education piece is so important. And sometimes you can learn it through, vessels like this, listening to a podcast or doing some research, but sometimes it's just experiencing that and going out into the world and traveling. And that's why for me, I'm a mother and I've been really pushing that on my kids. Go explore. Go see the world, see a different place. And that's how you learn and you see how we're all connected. So I think it's important. And then that's how we get these learning experiences, right? And that changes us hopefully for the better. I love some of the things you're doing to really educate people too, because a lot of people have this misconception that paying workers fair wages will make the product prices go through the roof. And that's not really the case. So how does your company kind of disprove that? Like, how are you showing that it can be affordable as well?
That's a riddle I think that a lot of us try to figure out. Like, I'm happy to say that like our business, we're a certified living wage employer and we're at the champion level. And they came in because they checked and vetted all of our artisan partners, all of the people that we employ in Niagara-on-the-Lake. We're the only ones certified in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And I think it comes down to, you've got to have leadership and you've got to know your customer and know the price elasticity of it. We've been at this for a while now and we haven't raised our prices. And I know you deal with it as well. as you go through the journey, like we pay our artisan partners in American dollars all the time, right? Like that's just how we do it. We've always done it that way, whether they're in Peru or Uganda or Morocco or India. And when a Canadian dollar falls, it's not our artisan partners' fault, right? So we have to make that up. And we're very fortunate that we make that up in volume. So from the consumer side, our customers that order online or come into one of our storefronts or our consultants, they're able to keep the price the same. And our artisan partners are able to be paid the same because it's one of our pillars. And I think that all social entrepreneurs kind of struggle with that, because as costs go up and you've got real people that you're paying that, whether it's, your team member or yourself, or whether you choose to go without a paycheck that month to ensure that your artisan partners have their paycheck. It's a weight that we all bear, but I think it's probably the most important part of doing what we do is keeping the prices within market and not having them go through the roof, because it's very easy to price yourself out of the market because there's a lot of competition. And we care about the artisan stories, and a lot of our customers care about them, but the average person, we still have a lot of work to do to ensure that they know what they're buying.
Right, exactly. You mentioned a lot of different countries that you are working with. I think that's so incredible. You are showcasing all these different countries and products that come from them and the people's experience with them. How do you decide which countries you're going to work with and which products you're going to feature?
Well, with COVID, it's been very interesting. And as you know, setting up supply chains in developing countries is really expensive because you have to go there quite often, the shipping and all that stuff. So we
don't get me started on shipping.
Talk about Canada Post these days, eh? Oh, I know. It's startling. It is startling what's happening with that. But anyway, so our first country was Morocco. Our second country was Peru. Our third country was India. And then as people started, and we have direct lines with artisan partners there, like we actually travel there. And a lot of it is we work with tour guides and set up things with them. And then they become our point person in the country to ensure that, it's all of fair trade principles are followed. Once word started getting out, like our Ugandan partners, actually, they came from a friend of mine who lives in Tennessee, who his church had been working with a group of artisans. And for whatever reason, they were unable to continue that relationship. So these ladies would have been basically high and dry. It would have been cut off. So he approached me and asked if there was anything we could do with it. And we have a pretty good vetting process. And I trust my friend. I've known him for a long time. I know his wife. I've met them virtually, but I haven't been there yet. I was supposed to go with COVID. So we've started working with folks through recommendations and a vetting process through COVID.
Right.
So there's really not a rhyme or reason. It's sort of, if we can help somewhere, we will. And there's places that unfortunately we've had in relationships that I've turned down because I know that we can't help. That's a tough decision to make.
And I know that I've had similar experiences as well. We carry, I think just as compassionate people, we carry that burden, right? But, unfortunately, we can't help everyone. I love that story of the starfish, that you can't save all of them, but you can maybe help one, right? So kind of how I look at things these days. So one of the things that I love that you're doing in your store is that you've created a zero waste refill program. And I was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about what you're doing with that, because it's such a great program.
As we opened our first storefront in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and the community support was fantastic. And a lot of people come here for holidays, so there's a lot of bed and breakfast and hotels and stuff. And they came to us for the shampoo and the body wash and lotions and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, wow, we're throwing away a lot, or we're allowing people to throw away a lot of little tiny plastic hotel size shampoos, conditioners, soap bars, etc. So from that, it was our goal to help with that waste. So I'm happy to say that we supply over 100 bed and breakfasts and hotels and stuff, and all but one are on a refill program. So they purchase one plastic bottle, they have to for insurance reasons, a pump, and then they refill. We provide them with the refills. From that came consumer want. So the guests that would be staying would say, oh my gosh, I want that too. And I thought it was cool. And then it just became apparent how easy it was to start a refill setup here. So all of our products, people can bring them in and we weigh the product that they buy and they get a refill. So we have glass pump bottles and it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. The thing that I love the most about it is because we have a storefront, people always ask, what is that zero waste? Like a lot of people don't understand it. Mm-hmm. So it gives us an opportunity to be able to talk about how bad plastic is and, how there are easy ways to make an impact.
Just that extra educational piece, like you say, for the people who are just coming in and don't necessarily know what your store is. They kind of maybe see something in the window, want to check it out, and then they come in and there's this, amazing multitude of things going on. So just explain a little bit about what are some of your products that you carry in your store, and also touch on the different models that you're using for business, because you've got the storefront, but you also have an interesting business model as well. So why don't you share a little bit about that?
Our storefront is in Niagara-on-the-Lake. We just recently moved into it's 1,300 square feet. So it's quite sizable. We have artisan goods that we design, or we work with people around the world. Everybody's paid fair wages. So you can buy purses and handbags, bamboo clothing, candles, all of that stuff. And a big part of what we do is all natural skin body products. So again, back to Nadia, we started working with one argan oil co-op in Morocco, and now we work with 4. So a lot of it is that type of thing. In our business model, we've always wanted it to be from the beginning omni-channel. And luckily, I think that's what really helped us through this COVID pivot is we've always been online. We've had a storefront for almost 5 years now. And we also have like a fabulous network of women across the country that sell our products. And there's a lot of boutiques that carry them. So we had a lot of revenue streams, and it's happened organically. Like if we get a boutique, they actually come to us. And we've also kind of branched out now. Netflix, some of the makeup artists just randomly came in, tried our products, and now they use them on a bunch of Netflix productions and stuff. So we have we're very fortunate, but it was our strategy to have many revenue streams. So if one switched, we were able to pivot.
That's amazing. And you've actually started a new venture, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about it, because this is like exciting. It's just kind of happening.
Yeah, it's been in the works for a long time, actually. It was just kind of that like secret business that you always wanted to start. So it's called Chef and Bub, and it's gourmet ice pops. So it's gourmet popsicles. We have a chef on staff, and we make these like super cool cucumber, lemon, and mint, or coconut, rhubarb, strawberry. We use local fruit where we can. But the cool thing about it, like there's lots of options for vegans, vegetarians, gluten-free, lactose-free, all of that stuff. But our sweetener is organic, fair trade cane sugar. And all of the ones that we use, our teas, we use our organic One Earth fair trade teas, and the coffee and the chocolate. Everything is sourced fair trade where we can. Right. So yeah, so it's cool. We opened it 3 weeks ago, and we have one in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and we're opening another in Thorold, hopefully beginning of July. It's a nice partnership because it gives us an opportunity to talk with our customers and say, yeah, it's fair trade organic cane sugar, to people that didn't even know that was a thing.
That was a thing. I'd love to just know what your long-term vision and plan is to, just bring more awareness about fair trade to your community, and also just what your goals are for your businesses.
That's always such a hard question to answer, especially coming out of COVID, right? I think everybody had to sort of shift a little bit or a lot, depending. Our thing is about having fun and education. So every customer that comes in, whether they visit our website, order through one of our consultants, go into another boutique, come into the store, we just like to share our story about how we can all make a difference. So this was a big move, moving onto the main street in Niagara-on-the-Lake in a larger storefront. So I think we're going to see how this year goes coming out of COVID. I think we're going to expand with more retail, but I don't know for certain. Like there's so much up in the air. But one thing is for certain, that it'll be a lot about storytelling and a lot about sharing how, that we can all make a change. We can all make a difference. You can spend $20 and change somebody's life across the world. So that's a lot of that.
Last question. I love just, our whole mission here with the Start Small podcast is exactly that, is to be able to show people that even though these are overwhelming topics and subjects, and you kind of feel like maybe one person can't make a difference, but you really can. And it can also start small. You don't have to be the Debbies and Terri-Lynns that all of a sudden go out there and start a business. You can start very small at home. So even with your purchases and stuff, what's maybe some advice or one or two quick tips? How would you say to the people listening that they can start small?
I think looking at your labels is a big thing, and getting out and supporting a lot. Most of your small businesses are going to be having this type of thing, like go to your main streets again and go out and just ask questions. Just ask questions and start small. Like you say, like your podcast is so brilliantly named because everybody can do it and everybody should be doing it. So, take a look in your washroom. Is it all plastic? Well, find a zero waste place in your neighborhood, because more and more are popping up, and bring in your old finesse bottle and fill it with something that's more sustainable, or give a gift or something like that. Like it doesn't have to be much.
That's amazing. Thanks so much, Terri-Lynn. I know you're a busy person and you've always been so generous with your time and helping the small businesses around you. I love your collaborative spirit. You know, you're not looking at other people as competitors. You're looking at how you can bring them up and lift them up. So I thank you for that. And I thank you for your time today. I wish you the best of luck on your new adventure. And I
thank
can't wait
you.
to come try it. I'm so close and I'm like, yes, get me out of here. I'm coming to you.
And Debbie, and you know what, honestly, I think you starting this podcast, and I know your passion because I've known you for a while, I think it's just so inspiring, because as we all know, it's not the easiest thing to do to have a sustainable business. And I think you just being a leader and bringing it out and doing a podcast and helping other people share their stories, I think helps a lot more than you even know. So thank you for taking the leap. And your business is awesome, obviously, too. And hey,
it's right? It's a struggle every day.
Hey, same. I've told you that. Same, right? Every day is a new day, but we know what we're doing. So
yeah. Great. Well, thanks so much. I can't wait to come out and try some new products and things that you got there. So have a wonderful day. Hopefully the sun comes out for us. We'll keep trucking. Thank you for listening to Start Small. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and found a small step you can take today. Make sure you share it with a friend. And if you have not done so yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you are enjoying this podcast, consider taking a moment and leaving us an honest review in your Apple podcasting app, so more people can be inspired to take small steps towards social impact.